Someone's going to have to clean up all this slime. Here's your look at the Hasbro Kenner, the real Ghostbusters, Green Ghost, and accessories. The hungriest of all ghosts, he is now on the side of the real Ghostbusters. No pizza or donut is safe when he's around. Now then, before we get a closer look at the Green Ghost, no, he's not being shy, actually. The reason why I have him facing this way is because I thought simply just because he's only about this tall, it probably would make more sense if you guys actually know how long he is. That's the method to my madness. Bringing in the tape measure, of course, the thing I always rely on in order to provide you guys with the proper measurements of these toys. I'm going to stop it at the very end of Slimer's tail. Now, it would make no sense for me not to put something right here. I'm going to use my hand for the time being, because if not, it's going to go right across the room. And Slimer's going to be probably like 8 feet long. That's not right. So I'm going to stop it right there. There we go. If I am correctly reading this, then Slimer is 5.9 or about 6 inches in length. We can switch that over to centimeters, and Slimer is 15.1 centimeters long. And Slimer's shy no longer. Let's bring in some of the figures that we can compare along with Slimer, starting first with Egon Spangler. We're going to do things out of order this time around, because normally we always bring in like Peter Venkman, Egon Spangler. No, mix things up. Egon Spangler, Winston Zeddemore. Hello, how are you? Peter Venkman. And there's also Ray Stantz. Other characters that we can also bring in. We just recently had a look at Fearsome Flush. In fact, actually, recently we looked at all of these. There's Fearsome Flush, there's Bug-Eye Ghosts, and maybe in the back, because he's a little bit bigger than all the others. Hey, group hug once again. There he is next to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Quite the nice list of... And again, I just want to tell you guys, these aren't the original vintage figures. These are the ones that Hasbro have re-released. But I mean, if you look at it, for that split second until I actually... or being the fact that you already know this review is based on the re-released figures, you'd swear, in fact, that I was looking at figures that came from all the way back in the 80s, and that's not the case at all. To the figure's credit, he comes included with 3 accessories. He comes with a slice of watermelon, an almost full-sized large pizza, I'm just guessing it's a large pizza, and he comes with a steak that looks like a U.S. state. Now, all 3 of these have something in common. Somebody's quickly yelling in the back of the audience. They're all made of plastic. Very good, sir. They are all made of plastic. But let me also add on to that very smart point that you've made. All 3 of them also have one other thing in common. None of them can be held in his hand. For this, I'm going to draw the jury's attention. I'm going to move Slimer over, the Green Ghost over for a second. I'm going to bring in the packaging. There it is right there. I want to draw everyone's attention to this image right here, so forcibly pointing at it. You can see that the Green Ghost is holding a full-sized almost pizza in his hand. First of all, I want to show you that the image is somewhat misleading, because when you look at the actual pizza in hand, it's about half the thickness of the one that's used in the image. But second to that, he actually is holding it rather easily in between his thumb and, I'm guessing, his middle finger, although Slimer's only really got, 4 fingers? He's missing one of them. But he doesn't really do that. He can't hold any of these things properly. Let me draw then everyone's attention to Exhibit S. That would be, of course, Slimer. You're very smart, sir, for guessing Slimer. Looking at his hands, though, again, 4 fingers. Between the thumb and the pointer finger, that's apparently the destination where the pizza's supposed to go. I'm just sticking with the pizza for the time being, because, again, that's the one that they used in the image. You're supposed to, in theory, be able to hold and wedge the pizza between the thumb and the pointer finger. And he can't do that. If I was to let this go right now, this would fall onto the floor, and then I would have to try to find where I've put it. But just letting it go like this, you can see, yeah, the pizza doesn't stay in his hand at all. Unfortunately, all the 3 things that have that same commonality, they're also the same thickness, too. So if you think you can do the same thing with the watermelon, no, you can't. The same thing for the steak that looks like a U.S. state. No, you can't do that either. The only thing that could probably fix this problem is to heat the hand a little bit and bring the finger closer to this finger right here. Bring the thumb closer to the finger so you have more of a cup shape. If not for that, taking it simply just out of the packaging as such, you can't actually have him holding anything. Sort of misleading on the back of the packaging. I'm going to move that exhibit out of the way. I hope the jury can now settle on their decision. I'll leave it to you guys to decide. Getting then a closer look at Slimer, and just one last time showing you guys the accessories he comes included with. That slice of watermelon. bitten along the top area here. Comes included with the pizza. Again, can't be held in his hand. Bite marks. Bit into that. And he comes with the steak, with lots of marbling. That adds flavor. No bite marks actually on this. I guess there's one little bit on the end, but I think it's more the shape. But again, none of them actually fit into poor Slimer's hands. He literally just has to eat off the floor. Poor Slimer. Getting a closer look, though, at the figure. Again, it's based on the original mold. I think it's based on the original mold that Kenner would have released from the 80s. I know some of these real Ghostbusters, they ended up having to come up with the brand new molds for these. I think Slimer is one of the more original ones. Certainly correct me if I'm wrong. The head sculpt, as you can see, is quite classic looking Slimer. He does have his open mouth, looking like he's wanting to fill his tummy with something. I really hope he's not expecting to hold it in his hands. I do like the fact that the interior of his mouth, where his tonsils are darker purple to his tongue. So at least the tongue stands out. All of this is all the same molded piece. So even like his tongue isn't separate from the teeth that are supposedly under it. The paint is pretty good. There are a few little places, like for example, where the off-yellowed color of his teeth don't quite go all the way down to the bottom of his gums. Now this is a pretty soft toy. It's similar to the Bug-Eye Ghost that we looked at before. His whole body makeup is basically just a very soft, similar dog chew toy. Again, I wouldn't recommend giving this to a dog. Now, there's two configurations for Slimer, and it's really clever the fact that the original Kenner figure also was able to do this. If you look at the back half of him, see there's this dividing line right here? You can either have the tail upright like this, if you want to have him like floating, or you can also bring the tail down, which changes the look of him, not only from the side, but then also from the front as well. Now, this is before the days, of course, of a display stand, so there's really no way to hold Slimer up in the air. I mean, you could just do this, just hold this in your collection with your arm out like this and just call all your friends over quickly. What do we want to see? What do we want to see? I want to show you the Slimer before my arm gets tired. I guess you could probably take some fishing line, but I'm going to see if I can find myself like a little cradle stand or something that I could rest him on top of. Or if you want to certainly just have him on a stand, for example, just on a shelf with the rest of your toys, it probably makes a little bit more sense to straighten out the tail like this. So he sits somewhat flat, although it looks like he's just sort of scooting along the carpet here. The other articulation that's also on Slimer, the Green Ghost that is his arms also rotate all the way around. They didn't do much in the way of ball joints back in the day, so any bit of swiveling that happens on his arm is actually more so just a peg joint. It's plugged right into the body, and that only just gives you this, where you can swivel those arms all the way around. Again, I like the detailing here on Slimer. It's a shame that he's not called Slimer, but instead called the Green Ghost. My biggest issue, if I had any real issues on a classic toy like this, is just, again, the fact that if you wanted to take any one of the things, they're teasing you by the fact you get 3 of them. He doesn't have really any means whatsoever to properly hold these in his hand. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I might actually submerge the hands into hot water. Even though his body is more of a hollow feel to it, his arms are more solid plastic, but even then, they're very gummy, the way that they've made them. But I'm going to see if maybe I can just heat the hands a little bit, just a little bit, so he can actually hold a pizza. It's advertised certainly on the back of the packaging that he can. I would like to also be able to display Slimer with actually holding any one of the food items properly in his hand, the way it should be. Of course, here in final looks, we can display Slimer along with his retro packaging. Short of the inclusion of Hasbro down below, I don't think they've changed anything on the packaging the way that the original packaging had these figures. Even if you look on the back of the packaging, what's rather interesting about this is even the Ghostbusters themselves, those are all the prototype figures. So you'll see like their faces especially are just slightly different from the actual figures that we've got. I think they're better looking head sculpts in all honesty, but usually that's the case also with prototypes. The prototypes generally look better than the mass-produced ones we end up getting in stores. Also, a little further down on the packaging, of course, is the advertisement for the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, another figure we just recently looked at here on this channel. Again, I'm thrilled for the fact that Hasbro has gone back to the inventory that Kenner was once circulating to store shelves, and they gave us the opportunity to pick up the real Ghostbusters figures. Now this, of course, wraps up, short of just one last thing we have to look at here on this channel, and of course that's the Ecto-1, even though it's not advertised here on the back of the packaging. But of course the review of the Ecto-1 will be coming shortly. My question certainly to you, the viewing audience, is have you had any chance at all to pick up any one of these retro figures when they were first hitting store shelves? Not back in the 80s though, but when they were first hitting store shelves, because I don't think they're available much now anymore. The newer ones, or the second wave, so to speak, the Bug-Eyed Ghost, for example, the Fearsome Flush, and I think the Ecto-1 are still available in stores, but the original lineup of the 4 Ghostbusters, I don't think are available anymore in stores, so you probably would have to then go the route that I went, EBAY. Why? Because Canada never got these. Anyways, let me know what you guys certainly think of this line, whether you've originally picked up the Green Ghost for yourself back in the 80s, or if you've, again, picked up any one of these. Let me know down below your thoughts of this line. And if you certainly are new to this channel, enjoying all the content you're seeing, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Turn, of course, the bell notification on. And keep your peepers peeled, because even though we are kind of wrapping things up on the Real Ghostbusters, there's still one thing left to look at, and that is the rather impressive Real Ghostbusters Ecto-1. I can't wait. It's definitely stuff coming your way, guys, so as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.